The answer to Fee's question, this is Mike Ungerleider. Ungie, what will change if the Dems take the Senate is that we will lose the thin shred of hope we are clinging to for transparency and accountability. And I think he's talking about election integrity. And thank you to Denny McCarty over on the Rokfin for giving us the Super Ray. We got 13 people over there. We need more, guys.
We need more.
Rokfin
Come on.
is the platform. Once Biden gets in, if he gets in, forget about the censorship. It's running wild. They take down a lot of stuff. Like I said, they've been suppressing our comments. And man, I've never felt it this hard on Twitter because this is the last push for election integrity over there. But when we go there, to DC, we're going to be educating people on the actual framework, what they need to do moving forward. I'm writing out a sheet to hand out. We're going to educate people on elections itself, because that really is the shame of what's going on right now, is that through these elections, and Jonny can tell you, I wish he had a microphone because he knows more than anything, and he's been on this battle with Raji Rob, paying close attention to this. I've been talking to election integrity activists. You yourself too, fam. You spoke in the, at the city council,
Board of Elections,
Board of Elections for, who picked the registrar of LA. What they do the whole time is they deny your data.
They
deny anytime, big time. They don't give it to you. They give you bullshit reasons why they don't want to give it to you. But anytime we want to get in there, if we want to have a forensic analysis, if we want to have a third-party audit, they say no. They hide the data. They keep it away from us. And there was just some breaking news that we just had as I was sitting here talking to you folks. There was some more news to come in right now. But I want to talk about the Georgia hearings. Don't get me wrong, guys. This was hours, like 5 hours. I can go over this. You know how I am with these goddamn hearings. And I was trying to flip back between that and the Senate floor, Kabuki Theater on the Senate floor. But what was happening in the Georgia hearings are just gold. It's just gold because these statisticians, these mathematical analysis, these guys who follow these voting patterns give you so much information, and they show you exactly what's going on. But there's a new name that's come to the forefront right now. I didn't hear about this guy until now. His name is Jovan Pulitzer. And this guy is actually, I think he was one of the inventors of the QR code. He's been in the business as far as electronics and software and things like this, barcodes, QR codes for years. There's over 12 billion of his products being used around the world. And he was really disturbed about what had happened on election night. So he's come to the forefront not too long ago. I've been following this guy, trying to get a hold of him, trying to get on the show. Well, he appeared in Georgia the other day. Now, I want to explain who Jovan Pulitzer is. Now, when he got interviewed by a right-wing network because, as you know, MSNBC, CNN, they're not showing up for these events, and they're not talking to these people. So I got a little Twitter right here to 2 minutes of explaining who he is and what he can do to help out the whole situation. This guy is brand new. I sent this to Raji, Jonny. I sent this to some electoral activists, election integrity activists who never seen this before. So this will explain right here who Jovan Pulitzer is, so you can take a look.
Forensic level that you can tell absolutely the difference between paper here in the United States or paper that was made in China. There's different formulations, different inks, even different fibers. And on our systems, we're able to tell every one of these. But the bottom line is really simple. Regardless of the side you're on, this is no longer about the president. This is no longer about parties. This is only about you as a citizen. Will your vote count going forward?
Pulitzer, who created QR code Scan to Connect and helped pioneer fixed dial-up internet, switched gears after election night. He says when he saw the ballot counts spike for Biden on election night and heard of witnesses testifying about masses of mail-in ballots with no folds, he was moved to create technology to check the authenticity of a ballot using a forensic scan. Checking the folds is part of the forensic inspection. Pulitzer explains the technology can also detect the kind of ink used to mark the ballot.
All of these have unique IDs, but the one that was done by a machine, because their printing dynamics are completely different, sticks out like a sore thumb. Here is a fake squiggle by a computer. Even though they could try to come up with fake squiggles by a computer, the one on the right, you still see the artifacts left over by it being a simple printing mechanism. All of these can be easily decoded.
He says he's working with litigators to potentially do these forensic scans in many of the contested states where some suspect fraudulent ballots were counted. But the first step will be right here in Georgia.
So we're hoping to get this done Tuesday or Wednesday, unless we get blocked by either the county or the court.
And Favorito says if the court dismisses the case, they are prepared to take it all the way up to the highest court. Melina Weiskup, NTD News.
Okay. Unmute yourself. Okay.
Yeah, I got it. All right. So, fam, what do you think about this new guy on the spot right now? And don't get me wrong, they asked him this, so what about ballots coming from China? And he was like, listen, I can tell you where the paper's coming from. I can tell you if it was just straight. I can tell if the machine is marking it. I can tell you all this stuff right now where we don't even need to necessarily get into the program of the software as much, that we can get an idea of what's going on to see which ballots are fraudulent and which ballots aren't fraudulent.
Well, QR codes are very tricky, because I remember actually going to vote and I didn't have I had my envelope for the primary with Bernie Sanders and Biden, the whole shebang. And I remember I had my QR code envelope and they weren't finding me through that envelope. And that's what they were asking people to use, but they weren't finding. So they had to find me another way. So QR codes can be easily used and manipulated for all sorts of things. I mean, now we're using them for, if you go to a restaurant, you use them for a restaurant menu, and it has to have a very specific code. So it's honestly very interesting, but I really, really liked what he said. This isn't about whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. This is just about whether your vote's going to count. And, it's a form of gaslighting that the Democratic Party establishment is talking about. Ooh, let's count all the votes. Let's count all the votes. Yet they're not doing that. And they didn't do that. They haven't been doing that for decades, especially to progressives. And when we talk about the elections, and when we say things like Bernie Sanders should have won, America chose the wrong guy. America didn't choose Joe Biden. Not since the primary and not thereafter. People have to come to terms with that. It is a form of acceptance that needs to happen. And people are still clinging on to hope that that's not the case, that no, Democrats only cheat in the primaries, that they don't rig the general, that, our country's still democratic, that our vote still counts. And it's not like that. I've seen Democrats rig ADEM elections. So you're not going to convince me that these powerful people aren't going to use mechanisms to do this. We've seen countless amounts of evidence. People want a detailed report by the New York Times. That's never going to happen because we're not allowed to see into these machines. And you can smear people all you want. You can call them conspiracy theorists. But that's the reality is, no matter how much evidence, as much as possible that can be presented, fam, we're never allowed to look into our elections. So that right off the bat should tell you that needs to change at the very least.
Yeah, and not only is it now that they use the excuse of proprietary software, we can't look inside the machines, they're refusing to give us the ballot images. They're refusing to let us inspect the ballots. They get the shit, push it through the machines, and verify it themselves. There is no checks and balances right now. And it's every single step of the way that we have been asking for data when we're simply saying, okay, hey, listen, you got your results, right? Let us look at them real quick. Let's verify them, and we'll be on our way. Why would it be so hard to say, okay, let's just verify these results, take a look at them, make sure they're well, make sure they're good? I mean, are we supposed to just trust what they tell us? And in every single step of the way in this particular general election, and it is just a shame, fam. Raji Rob told me something, Johnny. I always say talk to Johnny when I'm talking about Raji because he knows how he works with him all the time. He says, we could really use these 72 million people right now that have their eyes on election integrity. Can you imagine if the progressives, the people that I've been so critical of, the Michael Tracy's, the Jordan Sheridans, the Aaron Mateys, the Kyle Kalinskis, all these people right now that are like, oh, this is just so stupid, who really don't know a lot about elections, just said, you know what? Maybe enough is enough, and maybe we should stand with these people, get all the progressive people to say, let's stand with the Trumpers, and let's go ahead and take a look at what they have. Let's make them open up to us, give us the forensic audits, let them check their work, have independent audits, and catch them. We could have gone back, because let me tell you something, fam. I got a call from somebody, and he didn't want to give me his name. He showed me his work. He went over the Michigan 2020 primary, and he charted it. And he goes, Pasta, they stole it from Bernie here. We could have gone back and looked at all these things. These statisticians could have said, hey, look, boom, these people cheated over here or something went on. we could have brought eyes on them, eyes on the Adam Schiffs, eyes on the Nancy Pelosi, eyes on the Debbie Wasserman Schultzes. That's the one that just drives me crazy. For anybody to think that Debbie Wasserman Schultz fairly won any of her elections against Jen Perlman or Tim Canova, they are sniffing some serious glue, and I want to try it. If you get the chance, ladies and gentlemen, go back to the hearing, watch it. There's a lot of good stuff. But there was this one clip from Tracy Beans, and it just, you can
shout out to Todd Jones.
Todd Jones, we love you. One clip here from Tracy Beans. If you get the chance, now Pulitzer's testimony was over 30 minutes, and it was just juicy every single step of the way. And he seems to be talking to both sides of the aisle, nonpartisan. Hey, I can tell you if the paper comes from China. Hey, over there, progressives, I can tell you if this is fair or not. We can go back and look at the stuff from 22 months ago. I mean, there's so many avenues this guy has presented, and he's been around for a long time. I don't think I've seen a witness like this. And there's been people in election integrity. When I got this information from this guy about 3 weeks ago, I sent it to them. They're like, wow, that is some really good, interesting stuff. We have all the means to get a forensic audit every single step of the way. Let's take a quick listen right here to a part of his testimony. And I encourage everybody, I know it's a little tedious and these things are long. Go back, find this guy's whole testimony. It's amazing, guys. For people saying there's no evidence, once again, serious glue. Johnny?
Teams working on this and our technology teams into it. And as was broke early in the week and last week about connected devices, at this very moment at a polling location in the county, not only do we now have access through the devices to the poll pad, the system, but we are in. And it's not supposed to have Wi-Fi, and that's not supposed to be able to happen. So we've documented now. It's communicating two ways in real time, meaning it's receiving data and sending data. Should never happen, shouldn't be Wi-Fi. We've now documented it in real time so we can suck down the data. But that's going on right there where everybody's voting. And I just wanted to get it into the record.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Jones.
One of those, is it a mobile precinct or is it a?
No, it's a standing building.
Okay.
That this should not happen. And be. Shouldn't happen in any way, but this is another one in real time. Won't disclose location because every location is being checked, but we've now confirmed it 100%.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Senator Beach, did you? And now come to Still Beach and Tillery. Did you have a question? Okay, well, Senator Tillery.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. We've heard that there's 3 different types of machines: a scanner, a ballot marking device, and a polling pad.
Right.
Do you know which one it is communicating, or can you tell that? Or
right now, what you heard in the past was coming through the thermostat and stuff. This is now a more direct access way, and so this is coming through the polling pad device where they're checking everything. But now, it only takes one device where you daisy chain them together and do it. The most important thing is that shouldn't be two-waying and even shouldn't be accessible or on, and it's there. Were there any other questions?
Could I ask him one question? What effect could somebody with dishonest purposes, what could that person do given this access that's going on right now in Fulton County?
Statistically, what can be going on when you have an operation like this is as that data is being exchanged and somebody's in it, can actually siphon off that data, modify the data, and feed it right back into the system. Or kind of.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that we've been talking about for forever on this show. Yeah. When Johnny found the
exactly.
what is it, the SIM card thing in New Hampshire, that when we were all there, when he was explaining, oh no, it can't connect. No, it can. That's the problem. There shouldn't be that capacity for that to happen. Now, I mean, he explains it pretty well. I mean, this is nothing new. People need to hear about this and stop brushing it off as conspiracy just because it's coming from a Republican. I mean, that just has to end right now.
I put that video up, that particular part of the hearing. There were so many different parts, but I wanted to put that up as an ode to Jonny Tsunami, who did catch the guy with the SIM cards, got him caught saying that. He did see the Ethernet cord inside that room, which is illegal. Once again, there's supposed to be air gaps, no internet in the room. So I put that particular clip up there for Johnny to show you guys. We've been talking about this for how long? And Johnny has caught this stuff twice because he was looking for this stuff. We caught this at primaries and in general elections and whatnot. And here you got a guy coming in here and saying, and fam, it is so bad because now you can exchange data from a distance and then put in new data. You know what I'm saying? And if we don't get any of the information, and I didn't put my friend, I have a friend, a person who's a follower of the show, who actually is an IT person, worked for MasterCard, I believe, for many years, was talking about how the data is stored and how it's transmitted and all this other stuff, and how it's like game over. And people are not talking about the crux of the corruption that's going on. You know what I'm saying? It's not like all these ballots are hand counted. In some cases in LA, we have a 1% audit, and it's fugazi as is.
If that, yeah.
But I mean, this is not conspiracy whatsoever. And if the progressives were with us and said, you know what, we should stand with the Trumpers and demand a forensic audit and see what's going on, we could have neutered the Democratic Party going forward to put every single one of their elections under the spotlight, and we would have got real progressives into office.
It should have been Sanders. Yeah, leading this. Absolutely.
But totally. I mean, this is a shame that we didn't get it done. And the last video, Johnny, I believe, is I just want to show you, because everybody clouds the thing, well, we can't do this over here. If we try to do this, it's going to take weeks, it's going to take months and whatnot. Listen how long this guy says it will take. And this just blows my mind that even the progressives won't even say, yeah, we should just admit, let's go. Why can't we check their work? Let's get an independent audit going. Go ahead, Johnny.
America needs answers. They need confidence in voting back, and we think we can do that. And instead of like recounts that can take weeks or years, if we can get access here in Georgia, we could literally do it in about 3 hours.
That's incredible. And so far, have you made attempts with the Secretary of State?
At every corner, we have to talk to the hand, and they slam the door on us, and it doesn't matter if lawsuits are filed or petitions are filed. Everybody ignores it. I think until today, we made a breakthrough. But my question is, if the taxpayers paid for the ballots, if they paid for the voting machines that the states and counties use, and there's laws on the books that those are supposed to be kept for 22 months and open for inspection, how can the very election officials that use the people's money, that take the salary from the people to keep them in office, say, well, we can't let you look at these? It's just unheard of. This is the people's information. And I think above anything else, this is no longer about a president. This isn't any longer about a party. This is about, will your vote as an American count from here on out? And that is why we need to scan the ballots.
And so there's also been a lot of people testifying today about the technology, the issues with it. And you actually brought in the breaking story that the poll books here in Fulton County, you guys managed to gain access to. So can you tell me a little bit about what that operation was to do that and what exactly that means?
Well, you heard the Dominion CEO and other people with the voting machine say these things are not connected to the internet. There's no way they can talk to the internet. You saw a story breaking last week where our team did some of these investigations, and we found out that actually even a simple thermostat on the wall had an active relay reading these machines and transmitting data. And so it was very interesting today. Part of what we're doing is scrambling hard because we couldn't keep that story secret. It got out. And so as we're here in Georgia testifying, we're actually going around to all the polling locations to see if we can find these. And lo and behold, right here while we're doing testimony, here's one. It's open. It's connecting to the poll pad device, and we are right in the middle of the election. That should not occur, and that should convince people this is a problem. It's not what you think. We need to stop it now. We need to plug.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. So we're talking about hours, fam, and even still in the hearings, fam, too, even on top of it, they were saying, well, what if we didn't look at the whole night? What if we just looked at the spikes? He says, we can just look at the spikes. It will take no time. If you give us the data, if you give us the things to look at, we'll have it done in hours, not months, not weeks, not years. We'll be able to produce everything. We'll be able to produce evidence of how many times that particular ballot went back into the machine, as we saw in Georgia and Fulton County, that we literally on the video screen, they saw the same ballots go through the machine 3 times. I mean, what evidence do you want? And just check this out, fam. Johnny, I just put it up in the folder. Did you grab it? It is the Gateway Pundit. Once again, there is nobody reporting on this. It says breaking big. Javon Pulitzer says Georgia called in trucks to get rid of the evidence in Fulton County he's supposed to be scanning. So every step of the way, and you heard him say, we have Benny Smith on this show say, it's proprietary software with public funding. How many times have we said, Maria Estrada, for public request, Angelica Duenas, Raji Rob. This is our information. We pay for it. It's our data. Dr. Shiva said it on the show. Give us our fucking data. Sorry for cursing, Mom.
Regardless of what you think, whether there's enough evidence to convince you that there was fraud in the general or not, the fact of the matter is we need to reform our elections, right? Like, obviously, our elections are a sham. We don't have access to our own data. We pay for this, and we have a system where it can be easily hacked, where actual computer developers have told us it can be hacked, where statisticians have told us about the mathematical anomalies, where there is no procedure to actually have a checks and balances when it comes to the mail-in ballots, when it comes to the ballot harvesting, when it comes to even something small as doing as assembly delegate elections in California. There's not a system of checks and balances. There is no audit. We can't look into these machines, etc. So all of that is true, regardless if you feel that Trump was cheated or not. So you should be for this. You should be for it being open. The politicians, and like we said, you and I disagree here, Pasta. I don't think that enough people around Trump actually want to find the truth. I don't really think that that's going to happen, because the establishment on both sides of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party benefit from a more dictatorial approach to our elections. What else can you call it? If we had a populist election system where our votes actually counted, you wouldn't have Mitch McConnell be the senator of Kentucky when he has an abysmal approval rating, when you have people like Kamala Harris and all these people who have abysmal approval ratings, Nancy Pelosi, abysmal, lower than Trump ever had. How are these people in power? It's not just because they respond to lobbyists and corporations. It's because they stay in power. They're selected. So if you want all these populist things, you have to make sure your vote counts. And right now, it seems to me that our votes aren't counting.
You better believe it. And I think it's the number one issue, because no matter what we want, you know what I'm saying? It's nonpartisan. It's the will of the people. That's what this country was built upon. And we can do so many great things. We can get so many populist or progressive, whatnot, some civil liberties people in there, you know what I'm saying? Because the Democratic Party used to be all about civil liberties, and now they just walk away from it because they benefit from big tech, you know what I'm saying? And this is kind of like a digital coup. There's just ways to fix an election. And the sad thing about it is people are getting duped to believe that the ends justify the mean. They don't understand policy. They don't understand how it works. They don't follow their money lines. I do believe there is a little bit too much China scratch cat fever, if that's what you want to call it, and whatnot. I'm not denying that there's any involvement with China, but I'm not going to walk away and say, this is the establishment doing this. They're pulling the strings. I don't care who's involved, who's doing what. If we clean our own house, if we make sure that our politicians abide by the law of the land, then we'll get the results we want. Right. And you can go back and look at all these elections in the past, and you can just see this shit, because they're stealing elections. They've been stealing them. And this would have been our moment to shine, to really get in there, to really get some transparency, to do what you said. Let's fix the actual system itself. And we are blowing it. We are really, really blowing it. That is the progressives on this one. We shouldn't be the only ones with Ben Swan talking about this shit. There should be a lot of people in here because, and I hate people that are saying, oh, this is QAnon stuff and stuff. Like, no, guys, like, these elections are set up to be fraudulent. And the way these spikes happen, it's just so abnormal. And people are really going around. I was having that argument on Twitter with Jordan Charlton, and he literally tells me that, it was late mail-in voting coming in and mail-in favor of Democrats. I'm like, dude, you're just actually
regurgitating the same shit,
as Chris Cuomo on CNN was saying. Like, no, I'm like, I was really condescending. I said, let me educate you, my man. It's mail-in ballots never, ever favored Democrats. They favored older people. Older people tend to be more conservative. And in the case of Wisconsin, where they didn't send out these ballots everywhere, you had to still request them. More Republicans requested them than Democrats. Johnny Sue can tell you in California, we saw a week before the election, 2 million ballots were already processed through the machine. So don't sit there and tell me that it's the late mail-in ballots coming when you don't even know what the hell you're talking about. They stopped the counting.
They were already counted. Yeah.
This is terrible.
Those ballots were already counted.